All right, podcast. We are still having some technical difficulties, but I promise next week we will not. But Jarrett Thomas and Chad are here. So welcome to the Newly podcast, where you get practical, no BS insights on how to grow yourself and grow your career. On this episode, our guests, two of them, are Jarrett Thomas and Chad Fernandez from OTB. Chad Dio is at his name he has up there. Jarrett Thomas is the Chief Revenue Officer of OTB Digital. Jarrett Thomas is the CEO of OTB Digital, and they are both creators and hosts of the More Than a Title podcast. So we are so excited to have Jarrett on again, Chad on for the first time. Thank you so much, guys. Welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Always a pleasure when we link up.
Absolutely. Chad,
ready for a good time.
You have an amazing setup there, Chad.
I'm back. I was gonna lead off by saying we almost have on the same color shirt. I feel like we kind of coordinated that a little bit. That berry color.
Yeah, we absolutely did. Talked about it. It was great. Well, so we've heard a little bit about Jarrett and his you know what? There's some music playing. Let me just make sure I get that changed.
Other than that, we're gonna have.
I was gonna say, but show us the elevator music was. I mean,
you know,
we was on beat too.
Right.
We were.
We wanted to be a party once the shows start moving. That's it. You know?
Okay.
Yep.
Sounds like is the music off now?
No, it's just a lot lower. It's still lower. It's lower though.
Okay. Well,
it gets us hype because it's like clapping in the background. So it's like
okay.
It's about rapping when I'm talking.
I got bars.
Well,
let's do it.
Anyways, we'll keep going. We're gonna keep going. It's gonna be great. Okay, so Chad, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, since we know something about Jarrett. We'd love to hear more about you and what you do.
Yeah, sure. So, once again, thank you for having me on. My name is Chadio. I am the CEO of OTB Digital. I am now the co-host of the More Than the Title podcast. My cousin gave me the opportunity to come. I was behind the scenes, and he gave me the opportunity to step in front of the camera, and it's been a historic journey. So pretty much, my job is to make sure that he has everything that he needs. That's the easiest way to explain it. He's the Chief Revenue Officer, but he's also the driving force of the podcast. So my job is to make sure anything that he needs financially, equipment-wise, is to make sure that everything can run smoothly so that I can take the stress away from him. He could be in his zone and do what he needs to do so we can push this thing forward. I'm his support system, 100%. Go, Jarrett. Go, Jarrett. and it just so happens that we're family, so it makes it a lot easier. Easier. Yep.
That's awesome. Yep. Love that family support. I love that family support. So we're talking about authentic content. And I know Jarrett has had quite a journey with authentic content and how that can grow your career. But first, I just wanted to get a little bit of your perspectives right now on what is not authentic content. What is some of the content out there that both you see that you're like, oh, no, that's not it. That is not it.
I feel like everything on LinkedIn now. Like everything. What is real? Let's get to that now. I'm just joking.
My point of view, I'm always like I call myself like the middleman. I'm not a pessimist. I'm not an optimist. I try to stay in the middle and just kind of give everybody a clean look, right? To you, you can say, well, you're copying me, right? And I can say, technically, I'm from a place where we've never heard of you. You see what I'm saying? So technically, if I came up with a style or something that's similar to what you're doing, how can I be copying you when I've never heard of you, right? There's always more than one person that has the same exact idea. There's always more than one person that has the same exact idea. There's always more than one person that comes up with a way to try to get something done. So I think we have to be careful when we just start labeling people as copyists. I think that just more and more people are trying to be their authentic self. And what we're realizing is we're more alike than we want to give ourselves credit for. We're more alike than we are different. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a great point.
Yeah, I was gonna say even for like just non-authentic content, it's just certain content you could tell on LinkedIn that you're trying to game the algorithm, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm all about being yourself, telling your story, going through your experiences. That's what the platform is for. But if you're doing specific things just to get a certain look, just to get a certain reach, I think that's where it becomes a muddy area because we're all fighting for the same attention, right? And we don't need to do that, right? I think less people need to stop thinking about gaming the algorithm and start tapping into their creativity. Once you tap into that, then it's game over. That you can do a lot of things. Like we've done. I don't know if I shared that story with you, but with the NBA free agency post.
No, tell me about it.
Yeah, so that was when I left the agency. So I was like 2 years in. We did $2 million at the agency. I ended up speaking with the CEO. I was like, I'm done. I can't stay here no more. And I just quit. So the way New York City works is if you quit on the limb, there's no unemployment, no anything. So I just quit on the limb. And I was like, man, I need to give me a job within 3 weeks. So what I did was I'm like, let me go on LinkedIn. Let me create a free agency post like for the NBA. So I actually went on Fiverr, copied a Steph Curry picture, and then to put my face on it, put the company's logo, and it was like breaking news. Jarrett is now a free agent. This is what he does for the sales team. And sources are telling me he looks like he's reinvigorated and looking for a championship season. Just from that one post, I ended up getting, I think, 20,000 impressions, but I had Amazon, LinkedIn, Hootsuite, Google, so many other big brands reach out to me. I ended up getting a job within a week and a half.
That's incredible. Jarrett, that is so incredible. And it was just a fun idea that you had. Like, I feel like so many people overthink the content game. They overthink, well, what if somebody doesn't like it? Or what if nobody shares it or whatever? What if nobody likes it? Or what if somebody gets mad? And it's really not about what somebody else thinks. It's about who you want to be in the moment. And I feel like that is a really great example of you just being who you want to be and it's showing up, showing out, and creating results for you. Chad, I have a question for you. So in your game, as you've been watching Jarrett and supporting him, what would be some points or pointers that you would give to somebody who wants to start this journey of creating content and really digging into how they can be their authentic selves on LinkedIn?
So let me just give you a little bit of my background. Like I've always been like a loner. I've never been the person to move with a crowd. If the crowd is over there, then I'm over there. So I've always been that person where I was like, I don't care what you think. I'm gonna, like, you see what I got on, right? I'm gonna wear this berry shirt and you're gonna love it. I'm gonna give you this berry. That's always if I show you pictures of me in high school, this has always been me. So I've always been a person that's been in touch with my authentic self, but it takes a certain level of confidence to be that, right? To say like, I'm gonna be this, and I don't care if the masses don't enjoy it or don't accept me. This is still who I want to be. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you, right? Jarrett gets on me. One thing I don't do is tell stories. Jarrett gets on me every day because I overthink LinkedIn. I'm like, isn't it a business? Isn't it I got the suit and the tie on in my profile picture, and he's like, I'm like, isn't it a business platform? I think that because LinkedIn started out what it started out as, just a professional platform. They pitched it as just business. And it's stuck that way, that people are still like, I don't want to put anything up there that resembles something I would put on Facebook, which is more family oriented, more playtime, right? I don't want to put anything on LinkedIn that I would put on TikTok. Like TikTok is fun and games and it's challenges, but LinkedIn is like, let's start a career. Let's build brands, right? It's a completely different platform. So playing devil's advocate, I think that a lot of people just don't understand the algorithm and don't think that if they put that type of content on there, it'll work. So this is where Jarrett comes in, right? He's like, just Cuzzo, stop overthinking it. Like, just
every day, brother. Every day.
And we argue. So listen, we argue, right? We argue. I'm like, and one of the things we argue about is me not copying somebody else's work. Right. So for a very long time, he's like, why don't you do it? No, somebody did that. And I don't feel like it doesn't connect to me. He's like, just do something. Like, when I find something, and this is the key, I think everybody has to do, find something that you enjoy doing. Find something that you enjoy giving the information or spreading the knowledge on, and then it becomes natural. Once it becomes natural, then it's not a chore, and then you can start posting on a regular basis because it's nothing to you. It's like, oh, I didn't do it today. Oh, I got to do it today. It's like part of your everyday routine. So I would encourage people to do that. Don't rush to just put out content, but rush to try to find what you like to do, what makes you authentic or your authentic message, and then start working on putting that out, and it'll make the process a lot easier.
Absolutely. I would just add too, create content for people, not an algorithm.
Right. Ooh, absolutely.
That's that same thing if you're on Google.
We need the message sound on that. Message. You gotta clip that right there. That's a clip.
That's all it is. Content for people and not no algorithm, right? So like, once again, like you said, man, everybody's on LinkedIn, they're thinking the same thing, but it's just about connecting to people. I'm always about impact over metrics, right? I don't care if I get 1 like, 2 like, but if I get somebody in my DM say, Jarrett, yo, you made my day, or it made me smile, it made me laugh, or anything like that, that's a win for me. because business is going to happen, and you can't quantify your impact on somebody. How can I measure how I make Britta feel? How or when are you going to reach out? But I know we have a good rapport, right? So you're going to reach out when you reach out. So every little piece of content is just something else to add to that rapport, add to that trust building. And then before you know it, like what I tell everybody, you should be looking for the LinkedIn bug, right? That's what we pitch in our courses. So that's when you post enough content, when you finally hit one that just hits it out the park. And then when you see that the numbers are way different from TikTok, Facebook and Instagram. And then when you get that bug, it's just going to be, hey, man, let me just keep on doing what I'm doing. So try to just get in a flow, get in a rhythm, do what's authentic to yourself, like Chad said, and create for yourself and create for other people because it's people that's like you. That's all you should be trying to connect with.
Right.
Yeah. I think that's such a great call out. And I think, too, people forget that, people at companies are just people. They're just like you and anybody else. And, if you're creating content for someone like you, then you're definitely going to connect with someone. For me, someone once told me, create the content that you would want to read or the content that you needed when you first started on LinkedIn. And so for me, a lot of that is encouraging people to really just put themselves out there or to show up and to understand that growing your career isn't about, putting on this face, kind of like you in our last podcast, Jarrett, you talked about when you started in sales, how you felt like you had to cut your hair and, wear all these certain kinds of clothes and things. Yeah. And I feel like that happens a lot to a lot of people on LinkedIn where they feel like they have to use these certain business to business terms and make it sound fancy and businessy. And it really doesn't need to sound that way. I mean, a business really is just a network of relationships, honestly.
That's
and
all it is.
Yeah.
Well, again, devil's advocate, right?
Yeah.
The platform was built on a certain premise of business. And when you look at the structure of business, the roles that people play in businesses from C-suite down to the worker, and then how you address in those roles, that's why the platform took on the shape that it did, right? And what happens whenever you develop a plan or a structure, it flows in that area, in that avenue until one person comes along and goes, that we don't have to do it that way. So that's what Jarrett did. Technically, he broke the algorithm. That's what he did. So technically, that's what he did. He broke the algorithm because he came down and he said, I had on a suit and tie and I did all of this, but guess what? It's not working for me. So now let me put on a hat, let me sit on my couch and let me do it. And then it worked. It worked, right? So now what we're starting to see is a lot of other CEOs and CFOs and CMOs put on a hat, take off the suit and tie. Now they're out fishing and now everybody got on a polo shirt. And now you can see the algorithm changing because now there's more people saying, well, if it worked for him, now, okay, I can feel comfortable doing it myself. You know what I mean? Yeah. And now we can see that. We see it happening every day. And we see the message coming across too, the same thing. You don't know how many times we see authentic self. Now we just start laughing like we should have coined that. Yeah, we probably be rich right now. Yeah, we probably be rich right now.
For real.
Absolutely.
You guys should trademark that. Yeah. So let's say you, Chad, I would love to understand, as you have started your LinkedIn posting journey and as you've started creating content, what has been sort of the one thing that's kept you going? Besides Jarrett being like, man, keep going.
I was like, keep going.
Right. Every morning, my phone goes off. Did you post yet? I didn't even eat breakfast yet. Sit down. Let me have my avocado toast first. Let me get the nutrients in the body, get the brain flowing. I found something that I like to talk about. So I don't like fluff. Okay. I don't like fluff. I like to talk about what's really going on because I believe if you address the situation with a realistic view, then we can talk about actually coming up with a realistic solution, right? If you want to fluff this thing all day, then you're going to chase your tail. You're going to chase your tail and you're going to go in a circle. So what I did was I posted sporadically, right? And then I found something, a series that I now have called Real Talk, right? And in this Real Talk, I'm talking about important topics, not only to the community, but to me in general. And because I have so much to talk about, now I can say I've posted in the last 3 weeks, I've posted maybe 12 of them, right?
Yeah.
So in all fairness, and here's how it goes. I might have had LinkedIn, I don't know, 8 years, 9 years. And in this last 6 months, I've posted more in this 6 months than I've ever posted in all other 8 years combined. I'm not even going to lie. Yeah, that's Jarrett. So I'm still not at the point that he wants me to be at, but I'm a lot more consistent, right? I can guarantee on LinkedIn, I'll post at least twice a week now. You know what I mean? When before you might get once every 6 months, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, so I found that tool that I like, right? And now I'm consistent with posting them, and then the engagement is happening, and that platform is growing. So one thing I do want to say to people is, don't try to, if you're at 0, right? Set realistic expectations for yourself. If you're at 0, try to say 1 time a week, right? 1 time a week, and then see if you can stick to that, right? For a couple of weeks. And then once you get comfortable, maybe 2 times a week. What people often tend to do is go from 0 to 100. You try to go from not posting every day to posting 3 times a day, every single day. And then you run out of content, or you run out of ideas because you wasn't ready for it. So don't try to be an Olympic swimmer if you don't even know how to tread water. You understand what I'm saying? Put the little floaty things on, get in the pool, get comfortable with it. You know what I mean? And then as you start to pick up and you get consistent and it becomes part of your daily routine, then you'll see that you'll increase organically.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate with you, Chad, because you work out, right? So same way you would tell me it has to be in your routine, man. Just go work it. Go to the gym. It's the same way we're posting. Why do we put that roadblock? Why can't you post 2 times a day, 3 times a day? What is the problem, or why is it so hard to press the post button?
No, I'm just being honest, because I just love working out. I just don't love LinkedIn. That's the honest answer. I don't love it yet, Mama. I don't love it. Again, right? Again, being my authentic self, I got to tell the truth, right? Yeah. I am a gym rat, a fitness buff, right? I love to work out. I know that when I work out, it affects me mentally. It affects me in my overall day-to-day. It is something that I just have to do. Right. That's what I'm saying, right? I have to get to the point where LinkedIn is that for me, right? I'm trying to get there where that is what LinkedIn for me. That's why it's so hard, because I'm still looking at it as like a hobby, like today, if I do, I do. Yeah. If I don't, if you do, I'll comment on yours. So at least you can see my activity on it,
Yeah. And I feel you. I don't always post every single day, and I really should. I think for me, what that's about is, I don't know, sometimes I'm afraid of being seen. Like, I don't want, I want people to, like, I don't know, what if I say something and it turns out to be really controversial? I don't want someone in my DMs telling me, I don't know, something crazy about whatever, like there's, I think, a fear sometimes of people being seen, or breaking the mold, and they don't really want to stand out. What would you say? What would both of you say to somebody like that, or say to me, like, in that I'm, if I'm wrestling with that fear?
I would ask you, what is the why? What is your why for going on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
So it starts with that. Like, for me, like, I don't look at it any crazy way. Like, for me, at first it started as a sales revenue generation tool. I'm going to go in here, I'm going to post videos, I'm going to scale myself and try to get people to like me. So with the thought of them reaching out in my inbox, and I could get more money, because the way my sales structure was set up, if they come to me and I get it outbound, I get a bigger percentage. So I was like, let me just go downstairs. Let me just get you to love me. And you just come out and do that. Right. And as it evolved, it was, it's actually affecting people, right? It's impacting people, right? I've got people from the Bronx that are like, man, Jarrett, once I started being my authentic self, man, I hit my quota three quarters in a row, man. Thank you. I'm making more money than ever. Like, that's the stuff that I love. You know what I mean? So it goes back to that why, right? So I'm not saying you have to post every single day. You have to be like that. But as long as you remember your why, like, controversy is good sometimes. Stirring the pot is good sometimes. Standing out is good sometimes, especially in business. Why would you want to go with the crowd when you could be over here? I think AD said a good story like that. And we could tell you that. We actually had a guy, AD Dolphin, on. He's the CEO of D Herbs. And he said something where most stores, he says, biggest supplemental company in the country. So instead of him going to the shelves like other companies were doing, he went on radio and TV, was doing live reads, right? So he went on the Steve Harvey show. He went on a bunch of radios, the syndicate, the network. And by him doing that, he created his brand by going left, to the point now he has his own one-stop shop. He has his own distribution, his own network, his own marketing. He doesn't even have to go into the shelves. So now while people are reading the bottles on the shelf, because why? They don't have the same trust that he's generated and built. So it's the same thing for us as content creators. Build that trust up, be there every single day, and then have that funnel come to you directly, so you don't have to compete with everybody else.
Yeah. I like that. It is a bit about building trust and consistency. And I think, that's such a great example in that, he went left, like you said. Other people went right, he went left, and decided he was going to do it his own way, which is, such a testament to authenticity. Chad, what would you say to somebody who's like a little nervous about being seen or creating controversy?
I would say this: we all have conversations not only with ourselves within the day, right? We wake up and talk to ourselves like, okay, what are we going to do today? And you run over your schedule and things of that nature. But we also have conversations with friends, and we always take away things on a daily basis, right? What I've realized also with LinkedIn is you don't have to post a very long post. And I think that was one of my issues also. If you look at a lot of the posts on LinkedIn, they're very long, right? A lot of them are like very wordy. But I've also seen a lot of very short posts, 3-4 lines that have been super impactful, right? So something just as quick as like thought of the day, right? So let me give you a gem. Like, let's say, Britta, you're like, hey, thought of the day. Did you think about why you don't want to post in on LinkedIn? Let's talk about it. That's it. You see what I'm saying? Like something quick, you post it. Right. Thought of the day, right? Like what, ask your followers and say, hey, why didn't you post on LinkedIn today? Let's talk about it, right? And then it's a one-liner, maybe a two-liner, and it'll stir up engagement, and then you can build from there, right? And I'm pretty sure every day you're alive, you have thoughts, right? So if you think of it like something simple like that, you can start small like that. And then also, if you want to now post 2-3 times a day with that thought of the day, it's so quick and easy, then you can post the heavy stuff later, right? Yeah. So, so if you don't want to be seen or you don't want to stir controversy, I would say just start with something that, like you said, everybody relates to something. But I don't care what you like, what you love. There's so many people in this world that you have people that like exactly what you like the way you like it, right? So start with something small and just test the waters, right? Because like Jarrett did, he tested though, he didn't know that was going to work. He didn't know that was going to work, right? So gamble. Right, he gambled. So just gamble on it, right? Say, hey, let me talk about this today, right? Let me talk about that today. And then you'll see which ones get a little better engagement than the others, right? Now, if you don't want to be controversial, then stay away from the big boys, right? Do not talk politics. Please. Or religion. Please do not talk about religion. You know what I'm saying? Please. So, if you don't want controversy, stay away from those hot topics that somebody's going to come for you, right? Keep it simple, keep it basic. Or you can just say, like, you don't even have to ask the audience. You can say, this is what I was thinking about today. This is what I woke up and thought about, and just put it out there, and then just see how people respond to it. So start small. It doesn't have to be something big, but once again, it will be your own, right? It'll be your own thoughts and your own post, and then nobody can say, "Oh, you're copying me." You can say, "Oh, I didn't think about that today." You know what I mean? Like your cat could have did something. Like, don't you hate when your cat gets into the cereal bowl? You know what I mean? Like, you understand? And you'll be surprised. Like, oh, how many cat lovers there are? Like, I hate when Whiskers does that. He loves my Fruity Loops, and you'll be surprised. We had a partner do that, Jordan.
Yep.
I swear to God, our other partner, Jordan, he's from California.
Yeah.
He put up it was a crazy post. Something so simple. I think it was about like breakfast or something like that. Jay, what was it about?
It was about gushers or something. It was something
like candy and it went through the moon. I promise you. Everybody was chiming. That's my favorite candy. I hate when this. So that's what I'm showing you, right?
Yeah.
It was something small. It was just something that he thought about that he just threw out there. And it was like that, right?
I was going to say another example too. Like one time, this has nothing to do with business, right? One day we had a steakhouse. I put up a medium rare steak, and it got 30 likes. And one of the likes was the CEO of Stars Entertainment. He's never liked another post, right? So he might have been on his feed at a steakhouse and like, oh wow, that looks tasty. Even though it has nothing to do with business, we connected in that moment, and then I was able to go in the DM and start a smaller conversation.
Hold on, what you said? Hold on, you slid in his DM, bro?
Yeah, I asked him for rolling power.
That's a major pause.
No, it is a pause.
That's a major pause. That's a major pause.
I don't care. I asked for a rolling power, bro. I was trying to get like my 50. I was like, doom. I was like, get my push up on, bro. I was ready to get in power.
We gotta edit that. Do not slide in nobody's DM.
For business, until the revenue generates some revenue.
Hey, if it generates revenue, I'm all for it.
I love it.
You guys have been so great. And I so appreciate your original, thoughts and ideas around how to create content, how to be authentic, how that can influence your career. But I kind of want to bring it back to each of you personally. What has been, so for me, what I've realized is that career growth is really about personal growth. It's about me it's about me growing myself first as a human, and then that translates to my career. How have you personally grown from posting on LinkedIn or from creating content and engaging with your audiences?
Oh, so you want me to start, Chad? Because I can tell you right now, it's changed my life. It changed how I move. It changes how I act. It changes the people I'm around and the rooms I'm in. Right? Like, so before I started LinkedIn, I'll be honest with you, I had a decent network, but it wasn't to the point where if I was having a rough quarter, I could call somebody, right? If you wasn't in my industry, if I didn't speak to you in the past, it was just like, I have nothing. So that's why I started the LinkedIn in general, because it's like I tried every single way. I've sent 1,000 emails. I've sent to this. I did text messages. I was knocking on doors, anything to get a sale. And it worked. And sometimes it didn't. I wanted to bring something more sustainable. So for me, man, it was the first person who, and I'll shout him out. It was Ken Gibbs who actually gave me that opportunity, right? Like, so when I first started on LinkedIn, he was the VP of BET. And I just randomly, we met at an event. I was in his DMs for 6 months straight. 6 months. I was in his DM 6 months straight. Yo, let's go. Boom, 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 boom. Straight up. And that's what it is. And then he hit me up randomly. I hit him with an automated happy birthday. He hit me back. Was like, hey, my executive assistant is going to give you, some time. I need your email. And you get 30 minutes once a month. Wow. So what that did for me was like, if the VP of BET is willing to give me 30 minutes once a month, how many other people are willing to do so?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just changed everything for me. So it changed, like I said, the rooms I'm in, my confidence, and went from me asking him to now me asking all these major guests that we get on the show to come on the show, right? Because it just didn't matter to me. I wasn't afraid of the no. So that was a big thing for me. It helped with my confidence, and it just helped with life in general. It definitely changed my family's life and the opportunities that we have in front of us now.
Yeah, and I like that you called out that, it made you less afraid of the no. So it's like that no didn't control you anymore. You had more options. There was more open to you. I love that. I love that so much. What about you, Chadio?
Well, for me, it's a little different. I'm older than Jarrett, so I'm a little bit more further along than he was when he started his journey. I own I'm a CEO of 3 other companies as well. So I own other companies. And I've been in the music business for about 20 years. So I've been around all these celebrities and, moguls and stuff for a long time. I used to model also. So I've kind of been in this space for a very long time. So that's not what changed me. What changed me, honestly, was just finally, I've always been a loner, like I said, because it's very hard sometimes when you have the energy and the passion to do something, but your surroundings does not. Mm-hmm. Right. And your surrounding people don't understand the vision. It makes it almost impossible to succeed because you have no support system. Yeah. So even though I've been successful in other areas, I've always looked to try to bring people with me, because success is boring when you're by yourself.
Yeah.
It's boring.
Absolutely.
They say it's lonely at the top. Yeah, it's very lonely. You know what I mean? You can't talk to nobody. So what really changed me was, and me and my cousin, we've done music and we go back and forth, right? So now I'm gonna get him, right? This is the he knows where I'm gonna go with this. When we were doing music, he's great. He's always been an artist. Mm-hmm. One thing we always argued about was creativity versus understanding the balance of the business part of music. So I always used to tell him, you have the creativity. What you don't have is the understanding of how this works business-wise. And if you don't master that, you're not going to be successful. So we used to always argue about it, right? But he wasn't in the rooms that I was in, right? Now that a lot of his friends are CEOs and CMOs, right? Now he understands the relationship value of having those type of friends and what that entitles when you're moving around them and things of that nature, right? But also his work ethic from where I helped start his journey from to where he's become, that's what really changed me, right? Because it shows the power of just giving somebody a vision of saying, this is what is possible, right? Because sometimes that's all somebody needs. They just need to understand that there is a light down that tunnel. They don't see it, but if you just flick a little light and they can see it now, then you don't understand what kind of life-changing spark that can do, right? So me watching him go from being a waiter at BBQs and serving people, sticky wings in Texas, and, you know what I mean? And Texas-sized drinks. No, I'm telling you, that's where his journey. Yeah, he worked in Star. He's a waiter and stuff. And I'm like, nah, come with me, and we're gonna show you a different life, and we got to get you out of here, right?
Here's Yep.
That's absolutely what happened.
Right.
Like, so we literally I don't even think we told the story on the podcast. Like, so
No, we might not have.
We haven't. Like, so
Right.
I was in BBQs. My first kid was about to. He just said, "Man, we met." He was like, "Man, let's go out. Let's go to Cancun with me. Put it all." We went and got a penthouse suite. I'm sitting there. I cashed out, but I saw exactly how much fun we had. We're on the top floor of the best 5-star resort in Cancun. We're popping $10,000 bottles. I came out there with $300, and I'm like, holy shit.
But I told him, I said, it's okay. I said, listen, this is how we live. Tell me
Yep.
your budget, and we'll handle the rest. But I want to show you that there's a better life than what you're living right now. So go ahead, Jarrett.
Yeah.
Came back, set from right there that this is
Quit
how
his
I have
job.
to live.
He threw his apron down. I will not come back.
Quit.
No,
It literally happened like that.
Literally, he's
quit,
like,
and
I
then,
will not come back.
and that's when I started the Indeed journey, and that's when I found my first sales opportunity. Right after that.
And so think about it. So from there, he became one of the youngest VPs in history to do what he does, right? And to do what he does. And now he has skyrocketed to confidently say, I close $1 million deals. From serving sticky wings to saying, no, I confidently close $1 million deals, confidently, right? And I know CMOs and I know CEOs on a personal level, and not just low-level CEOs, but CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. You see the difference? Now think about what he said to you before. Now that people are approaching him saying, you changed my life, that's my impact. Do you see what just happened? Because now I changed his life. He changes his family's life, and now he's impacting and changing other people's lives. Now it's a domino effect, and now we are growing and changing our community. That's my impact right there.
Yes,
that's my impact.
I love that. I love all of those things. And I would challenge people too that are listening to this. You never know what kind of impact you can have on someone. Like Chadio, you gave Jarrett a vision of what his life could be like. You never know. Maybe you're not a CMO of a company right now, but you moved from coordinator to project manager. And there's some coordinator out there that doesn't believe that they can make it to project manager. And sharing your content and sharing your experience on LinkedIn, maybe they see that vision for themselves, just like Chadio showed Jarrett. I just would challenge people to just start sharing their journeys, start sharing what they learned, because we all learned something, right? Like we all know something.
But be open-minded.
Yeah.
Be open-minded, right? Because a lot of the times, and I'm pretty sure, Brittany, you have a lot of friends that, statistically, people, it's a high percentage, like 75%. It's something crazy where like people go to school, get a degree, and then don't even get a job in a degree that you just spent 5-6 years and $100,000 in debt learning. You understand what I'm saying? So be open-minded. Yes, you might want to be something, but if an opportunity pops up for you, maybe in an avenue that's a little bit different, don't be afraid to try it out. Especially if you're like, I might can do this, because you never know. You might have did well here, but you might excel and take it to the moon over here. So don't be afraid to kind of like, everybody puts how you say, Jarrett, like what we want to be. Like, how you project, right? So people project what they want to be and what they want to do in life, but don't be afraid to deviate from your own plan.
Absolutely. You got to be able to pivot.
You got to be able to pivot.
And you got to believe in yourself. So with all this content stuff, even in just your career, just believe in yourself, guys. Yeah. I went downstairs and was just like, man, I'm in a weird space in my career, but I believed in myself enough. I didn't care if I got 1 like, 2 likes, 3 likes, but we stayed consistent with enough. And I knew I wanted to do it. I knew I had to change my life. And we just came from a conference, podcast summit. There's people making $3, $4, $5, $6 million making content.
Wow.
Easily.
You know what I mean? Easily. So the way this thing is going to evolve, it's the opportunity is ridiculous. Oh, you gotta go. You have to go. You have to go.
I'm sorry. Oh, she didn't go yet.
No.
Oh,
no, you have to go to
you gotta go.
summit.
Mandatory. It will change your life. Like I said, if you're willing to listen and learn, mind you, we're talking a room of 1,000 people at all economic different levels and all different levels of a podcast. Right. So if you have a person that's there that's sitting next to you saying, I already monetized my podcast, I make $3 million a year from my podcast without trying, and I'm sitting next to you learning, that should tell you something, right? That should tell you something that, listen, even though you're at a certain level, if you learn, you still can go to another level. There's always higher levels that you can take it to.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, you guys. Excuse me. And thank you everyone for joining us and watching the podcast. I am so grateful to you all. So as we close out the show here, we have usually 2 rapid fire questions, but Jarrett, you've already answered these questions, so I'm gonna get chatty. I'm excited to hear your answer.
Okay.
So what is the most random job that you have ever had?
Most random?
Yes.
Job?
Mm-hmm.
I worked at the Bronx Zoo in the, I think it was that the monkey section.
No way.
I was in the little Pizza Hut.
Oh my
I
God.
was serving people those little pizzas that we bake for $17. You want a Frosty with that? Yeah, I had a job at the Bronx Zoo in high school. It was just like, it was random. It was just like, again, like, you want a job? I was like, no. They like, we pay this much. I was like, sign me up. give me some khakis.
That's awesome. Okay, and then this is the last rapid fire question for you.
Mm-hmm.
What is the worst career advice that you have ever gotten?
The worst career advice I've ever gotten.
Mm-hmm.
I think the worst career advice I've ever gotten was somebody telling me that I wasn't good enough for what I was doing when I felt and I knew that I was.
Wow.
And I think that held me back for years. And that goes back to my peers, the people that I was around, because they weren't good enough. They stifled my passion and my push to move forward by getting me to believe that I wasn't good enough based on their opinion, not based on the fact that, wait a minute, you're not even there. Why am I even listening to you?
Right.
So that's the worst advice I've ever gotten, by my peers stifling me and just convincing me that I wasn't good enough when I knew in my heart that I was.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of goes back to your point. Like, it matters the kind of people you hang out with, the kind of rooms you're in, the kind of people who influence you. Yeah, that's such a great point. Well, I want to thank everyone who joined us. If you want to listen to this episode, it goes live on all relevant podcasting channels on Monday. Don't forget to subscribe to the channels and like and share with friends if you think they'd benefit from this information.
Of course they would benefit from this information. What are you talking about? Come get this information, people. Come get this information, people. We dropping gems on you.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Join me next week, 8:30 a.m. live and on the Newly podcast, where you get more practical, no BS insights on how to grow yourself and grow your career. Thank you.